You ever picked up a game just because your favorite voice actress is in it and end up loving the game? Well, that is what happened to me when I played Granblue Fantasy Relink. We have about 200 hours now in the game, over 800 matches, more than 700 of them on Narmaya, who is Brianna Knickerbocker's voice. That is my favorite voice actress. And when I found out she was in this game, I tried out the demo. I thought the demo was awesome, so I bought the game. And then when the game came out, I was like, oh, I want to get the digital, or not the digital, the deluxe edition because it comes with an art book. And then I found out that, hey, you can get early access if you have the digital. So I bought 2 copies of the game. And that is my story about getting the game just so I could play early because it is so much fun. I love this game so much. I think it is an early contender for Game of the Year. I know people are very high on Helldivers 2, but I think this game is better based on what I've seen between both games. Now, I haven't personally played Helldivers 2, but I do have it on my wish list, so if it goes under $30, I'll probably get it. But apparently you can't get on right now. But you can still get on here, even though it does have some disconnects problems, and sometimes you don't get the loot that you just got, and it could suck when you get your Terminus weapon and you don't get it. So I actually want to talk about the things I don't like first. There's not a lot that I dislike in this game. Post-production here. 2 things I also dislike are random sigil caps, like damage cap for lifesteal on drain is 500. And I also don't like the camera angles. So let's add that to the game. Maybe one thing I really dislike about this game is the fact that the lock-on system is awful. Like, you'll be looking at someone and you'll target onto it and it will lock on someone behind you, and then it will instantly flip your camera around. And if you shut that feature off to where it doesn't go behind you when you lock on, sometimes the camera will go under and you can't see anything, and you got to spend most of your time getting the angle back right for your camera, and it's just awful. And then the switching is kind of bad. Sometimes when you want to move your camera when you're locked on just a little bit, it will start changing where you're targeting. So the lock-on system, please, devs, if you ever watch this video, just change the lock-on system just a little bit and it would be amazing. I can't think of another thing I really dislike. I'm sure I could think of it while playing. Oh, a little faster moving through the menus. That's about it. Those are the things I dislike about this game. The lock-on system and the menus feel a little bit slow. I want to talk about all the good in this game. The character designs in this game are really cool, okay? I know that sounds very generic, but there's so much difference between like each character and how they play, and they all have lines, like voice lines, directed towards like their character and how they play throughout the story. They all have little fate episodes that tells you all about each character and what they were doing in the story at the time of the story taking place. I think it's really, really cool. I know that's a word I use a lot. It's cool. It's awesome. Those are things that I like to say. But one of the coolest things about this game is that I started making videos and you guys watched it and you guys are like, I want to watch more of this, and click subscribe. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it, because I do this for you guys, because I don't make videos just for me to watch them. All right. I make them for you to watch them because I want to share the fun I have playing games. One thing that is super hyped about this game is the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. I bought the deluxe edition and it comes with the soundtrack. So I am going to be listening to the soundtrack a lot in my spare time when I'm gone. It has a CD so I can play it while I'm driving in my car, you know? There is nothing cooler than playing that final boss fight and having the music kick in, and it just goes so hard that you're like, oh, this is amazing. So I fucking love the music. So the character I play the most is Narmaya, as I said earlier in the video. She is a melee character, and the way the melee characters work in this game, that some of them have trouble with the air. That is definitely Narmaya. And she doesn't get her full combos off when she's in the air. So flyers are not good, but then you have characters like Zeta, where their kit takes them into the air and they just completely destroy. So all of the characters, even if they're melee, they feel completely different. And that's one thing that I really love in a video game, is all the characters play different. And I'm not like, oh, this character plays like this character. They just have 3 different skills. So the differences in the characters actually matter. So it's like, I like this character, like Vayne. Vayne is another character that I play. Vayne is like the tank. He has this ability that if I didn't have a Vayne in my group when I played that mission, I probably never would have beat that mission, because the Vayne used his ability where no one gets hurt. We didn't have to run. I didn't have to suck at dodging. I've gotten a lot better. That was like 400 games ago. That was like 40 hours ago. So the more hours you put in, the better you're going to get, the more you understand the game. One thing I found out about this game is if you look online, a lot of people are just telling you this is the best build ever, but they're not looking at caps and stuff. So all your sigils, what makes this game cool is you have sigils that you can build, and each of your sigils have stat limits. So it's like damage cap is 65. Damage cap is a little weird mechanic that they have in there where you can't go over a certain amount. So even if you stack nothing but damage traits, you can't go higher than a certain amount without having your damage cap. So that adds more towards your build, and you're like, okay, I need to have some damage caps here. I need to have this. But the cool thing about damage caps is you can have the pluses that allows you to have a second trait on the sigil as well. So you're not forced to just have a straight damage cap. You can find ones that have both the damage cap and like a potion hoarder or a guts or a quick cooldown. So you end up having all these little other traits that you can go on your sigils. So it's super cool on how you can build them. There's so many different options for weapons that you can choose. Now, I've realized that the Ascension weapon sucks. Okay, attack is a worthless stat. So don't be tricked by that. Don't let people tell you this is the best weapon. Save your Ascension weapons for last. Do not do that first. Do not waste your time and your resources on Ascension weapons when you can be leveling up the other weapons that work better. I know this is like me doing a review, but that's just something that's important to me because I don't want you guys to be tricked. I don't want people telling you, hey, you need to do this. You need to have 15 of these. All right, you have 15 slots. 15 of them have to be this so you can actually do damage. No, don't. Just use your buttons to see what the limits are and go within those limits. But yeah, this game has 10 chapters plus an epilogue. And then once you beat a certain boss, you get another story, which is like another epilogue. So the story is actually pretty short and you can beat it pretty quickly. I do like the story. It's very short and quick, but this game shines in the co-op and the multiplayer. Now, you don't need to do multiplayer to play this game. It's just there are certain levels where you definitely want to play with friends. You definitely want to play with a group. And it just makes it so much more enjoyable. Because a lot of the times that your bots only attack when you're attacking, and a lot of the times if there's multiple targets, they won't target your targets. And if someone goes down, instead of keep on fighting, they'll run straight to the person to res them. And a lot of times you can lose mechanics, and it's much better to play with other people. And I have played at least 400 of the 800 games that I have played online. So you can find groups pretty easy as long as you don't go same area. You actually have to go any. But I'm also on PlayStation, so I assume Steam might have more. So it might be easier to get groups in Steam. And I saw Steam also has a lot of other features. Who knows? If I get enough people that want to play with me on PC, I will get Steam too. And I will grind just as hard as I did on PS5. The only thing that's going to happen with me is if you've watched any of the other content on my channel, I really like Goblin Slayer. I've been doing reviews on the Goblin Slayer side stories. I've been doing reviews on how to play the tabletop game. So the Goblin Slayer video game comes out in 9 days of the recording of this video. So that might take me off Granblue for a while. But you know, if any of my friends are like, hey, let's play some Granblue, I will put down Goblin Slayer and play. If you guys in the audience watching right now, if you say, hey, let's play some Granblue, I will be all over it and be like, I am here now. We can play some Granblue, right? Don't matter who it is. We'll play Granblue. I love this game. It's so much fun. I think it's a contender for Game of the Year, early contender. Now, I haven't seen any other games that I am excited for that come out after March. So all these early games seems to be the only games I care about this year. The last one being, I think, Unicorn Overlord or something like that. I bought the collector's edition of that. I'm excited for that game too. And I can't even remember the name. And this game, Granblue Fantasy Relink, I wasn't even going to buy. And then I played the demo and it was amazing. And I loved it. So I started making videos on it. I did this review. Another post-production is I forgot to give the score. I think this is about an A-. It's really fun. This might take it out of Game of the Year contention, but it's still a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.